You've been trying to fix your personality your entire life, and honestly, it's exhausting. You've been told by teachers, bosses, and maybe even your own parents that your quirks are obstacles to your success, that you need to be more disciplined, more organized, and more normal. But here is a fact that might change how you see yourself forever. The human brain hasn't actually upgraded its hardware in over 50,000 years. This means your modern mind is still running on ancient survival-coded software that was never meant for cubicles or polite dinner parties. This is exactly why you feel like a glitch in the system every time you can't fit into a normal 9 to 5 or a polite social circle. Most people assume that your weird quirks, your late nights, and your messy room are just signs of a lack of discipline or a broken personality. But that's not quite right. In fact, labeling these traits as bad habits is the biggest case of collective gaslighting in history. The real answer is that you aren't failing at being normal, you're succeeding at being an evolutionary misfit. These habits are the flashing neon signs that your IQ is operating on a frequency the rest of the world can't even hear yet. Think about the invisible weight you carry every day, trying to dampen your intensity just so you don't make others uncomfortable. You've been playing a character in a movie you never auditioned for, following a script written by people who don't understand how your gears turn. It's time to stop apologizing for the way your lightning moves through your neurons. You aren't a project that needs finishing. You are a high-performance machine that is currently being forced to drive in a parking lot.
Think about the guilt you felt for not being part of the 5 a.m. club. You've been told that the early bird gets the worm and that staying up until 3 a.m. scrolling or working is a sign of a failing life. But think about that specific feeling you get around 11 p.m. While the rest of the world is snoring, your brain suddenly flips a switch. You get a second wind. The ideas start racing, and for the first time all day, the static in your head clears up. This isn't bad sleep hygiene or a lack of willpower, it's evolutionary biology. In our tribal past, the sentinels, the smartest and most alert members of the group, stayed awake at night to watch the perimeter. Your brain is a high-security radar system. While the gatherers sleep to prepare for the morning sun, you are the one wired to scan the darkness for patterns and threats. Stop trying to force your Ferrari to run like a tractor at sunrise. Your most brilliant thoughts happen when the world is silent, because that is when your specialized nocturnal mind was designed to function. Imagine the quiet power of those midnight hours, where the social pressure of the day evaporates and you are finally alone with the rawest version of your intellect. That isn't a sleep disorder, it's a strategic advantage that served our ancestors for millennia. When you stay awake while others dream, you are claiming a territory of thought that is closed to the average person. You aren't lazy in the morning, you're just recovering from the intense cognitive labor you performed while the world was dead.
Then there's the constant shaming for your pigsty of a desk or room. People see your workspace and assume your mind is just as cluttered and ineffective. There's a pile of books here, 3 half-finished notebooks there, and coffee rings on documents that seem important to anyone else. Yet when you need that one specific receipt from 6 months ago, you know exactly which layer of the chaos it's hiding in. Research proves that messy environments actually trigger higher levels of creativity and innovation. A tidy desk is often a sign of a finished mind, someone who is just checking boxes and following instructions. A messy desk is a sign of a mind that is constantly making new, unconventional connections between seemingly unrelated things. Your desk isn't a mess, it's a mental external hard drive. You are physically mapping out your thoughts in 3D space, and every object is a bookmark for a specific idea. This organized chaos is a symptom of a brain that prioritizes the internal structure of ideas over the external structure of objects. You aren't avoiding chores, you are allocating 100% of your cognitive energy to solving complex problems, leaving nothing left for the triviality of stacking papers or color-coding pens. Einstein, Steve Jobs, and Mark Twain all worked in environments that would make a minimalist scream.
They weren't messy because they were lazy. They were messy because they were busy reinventing reality.
There is also nothing more embarrassing than being caught having a full-blown debate with yourself in an empty room. Society calls it the first sign of losing it. You're walking to the kitchen, whispering the steps of a project, or arguing a point you want to make later. Then you catch your reflection and think you're going crazy. In reality, talking to yourself is a metacognitive superpower. It's called self-directed speech, and high IQ individuals use it to organize their working memory. When you speak out loud, you are literally adding a second processor to your brain's CPU. You're turning abstract, foggy thoughts into concrete data. It's like an architect talking through the blueprints while building a skyscraper. You aren't lonely, you're just the only person in the room smart enough to keep up with the conversation you're having. This verbalization forces your brain to slow down just enough to catch the errors in your logic. It's a self-correcting mechanism that allows you to simulate social interactions and refine your theories before they ever hit the real world. Every time you explain a problem to yourself, you're engaging in a process called rubber ducking, where the act of verbalizing the issue reveals the solution. Stop feeling ashamed for being your own best consultant. You are your own boardroom, your own jury, and your own strategist.
You've probably also been called awkward or antisocial because you can't stand small talk. If you feel like your soul is slowly leaving your body every time someone talks about the weather, the local sports team, or what they did over the weekend, you're not a snob. You're anti-shallow. High-intelligence brains have a lower tolerance for low-density information. Your brain is literally starving for depth. You don't want to talk about what happened, you want to talk about why it happened and what it means for the future of the species. You are a deep-sea diver being forced to spend your life in a toddler's wading pool. Of course you're frustrated. Stop apologizing for your silence or your resting bored face. This social friction occurs because your brain is wired for maximum efficiency. It views superficial conversation as a waste of metabolic energy, a noise that masks the signal. You aren't lacking social skills, you are seeking social substance. In a world of echoes, you're looking for a voice that actually says something meaningful. When you find someone who speaks your language of concepts and systems, you aren't awkward at all. You're the most passionate person in the room.
You think too much. It's the most common complaint you hear, and people say it as if your ability to analyze is a defect that needs to be medicated. You might spend 3 hours researching the best brand of toothpaste because you're looking at the chemical ingredients, the environmental impact of the packaging, and the ethics of the parent company. Meanwhile, everyone else just grabs the first one they see and moves on with their lives. What they call overthinking, evolution calls risk simulation. Your brain has a hyperactive prefrontal cortex. You are running 10,000 scenarios in the background to ensure the best possible outcome. You aren't indecisive, you're thorough. You are the one who survives the crisis because you've already lived through it in your head 1,000 times. Your mind is a chess grandmaster playing 50 games at once. It's exhausting, yes, but it's the only reason you're 3 steps ahead of everyone else. This tendency to analyze every variable isn't anxiety, it's a high-level defensive strategy. You are building a mental fortress, brick by brick, ensuring that when the storm comes, you have already predicted every leak and reinforced every wall.
This connects to that incurable curiosity that everyone calls a short attention span or shiny object syndrome. You jump from one hobby to another, and you've been told you're a jack of all trades, master of none, as if that's a bad thing. It's 2 a.m., and you're suddenly an expert on medieval siege engines because a Wikipedia rabbit hole led you there. By next week, you'll be learning how to code in Python, the history of the Roman Republic, or how to bake the perfect sourdough bread. This isn't lack of focus, it's divergent thinking. High IQ brains require constant novelty to keep their neural pathways healthy and elastic. Your brain releases dopamine when it learns something new, making you an information omnivore. This cross-pollination of ideas is exactly how breakthroughs happen. You are building a massive library of random pieces that will one day fit together into a masterpiece that a specialist could never imagine. Every random fact you absorb is a new tool in your kit. While others are digging a single deep hole, you are surveying the entire landscape, waiting for the moment when you can connect the dots in a way that changes the world. You aren't an amateur. You are a genius in training. You also notice things that make you look paranoid or obsessive. You see patterns in numbers, behaviors, or events that everyone else dismisses as mere coincidence. You predict a friend's breakup months before it happens because you noticed a slight change in the way they texted or the micro-expressions on their face during a dinner. Or maybe you see a market trend or a social shift before the experts do. People call you lucky, crazy, or over-analytical, but pattern recognition is the core definition of intelligence. Your brain is a high-speed data processor that identifies sequences and correlations that are invisible to the average person. You aren't seeing things, you're seeing the architecture of reality. While others see a wall of random bricks, you see the blueprint the architect used to build it. Stop doubting your gut feeling. Your gut is just your subconscious processing millions of data points faster than your conscious mind can explain. This hyper-awareness is what allowed our ancestors to track predators across silent plains and predict changes in the seasons long before they arrived. It's a primal survival skill that has been refined into an intellectual weapon. You are the one who hears the silence before the storm, and that silence is telling you everything you need to know.
Society also hates sarcasm, calling it the lowest form of wit, but science says otherwise. Sarcasm is actually a sign of advanced cognitive processing and social intelligence. To be sarcastic, your brain has to understand the literal meaning of a statement, flip it to its exact opposite, and read the social cues to ensure the timing is right, all in a split second. It's mental gymnastics that requires high levels of abstract thinking and empathy. If you're naturally sarcastic, your brain is multitasking at a level most people can't reach. You aren't being mean, you're testing the logic of the world around you. It's a survival mechanism for a mind that is too fast for the slow, literal world it lives in. Every sarcastic remark is a micro-test of intelligence, a way of seeing if the person you're talking to can keep up with your mental speed. It's a filter for your social circle, ensuring that only those with a similar level of cognitive flexibility can truly connect with you. You are using humor as a scalpel to dissect the absurdities of a society that often makes very little sense. Now, consider your absolute non-negotiable need for solitude. You've been told that you're antisocial, cold, or that you're closing yourself off. But for a high IQ mind, being alone is a physiological necessity. Social interaction, especially the shallow kind, is cognitively expensive. It requires you to constantly translate your complex, multi-layered thoughts into simpler language, to monitor social cues, and to dampen your own intensity just to avoid being too much. After a few hours of this, your brain is literally out of fuel. Solitude isn't about hating people, it's about recharging your neural battery. It's in those quiet moments that your default mode network activates, allowing your brain to process all the information you've gathered during the day and turn it into wisdom. You aren't hiding from the world, you are stepping back so you can see it more clearly. You are the mountain climber who needs to reach the summit alone just to breathe the air that everyone else finds too thin.
Have you ever found yourself laughing at a joke you made in your head while everyone else is silent? Or maybe you find things hilarious that others find confusing, obscure, or even offensive. This independent sense of humor is a major indicator of high intelligence. It shows that you are making abstract connections and seeing ironies that others simply cannot perceive. You aren't weird for laughing alone. You are just the only person in the room who gets the cosmic joke. High IQ individuals often use humor as a way to cope with the absurdity of a world that doesn't make sense to them.
It's a sign of a mind that refuses to be constrained by social expectations or correct ways of thinking. Your laughter is a declaration of intellectual independence. It's the sound of a brain that has found a way to find joy in the middle of a chaotic system. Imagine a world built for people who walk at exactly 2 miles per hour. The doors are timed to open at that speed, the music plays at that tempo, and every conversation happens in that predictable rhythm. Now, imagine you were born to run at 60 miles per hour. You would constantly be crashing into doors. You would find the music painfully slow, like a record being played at the wrong speed. You would eventually start to believe that you are the problem, that you are clumsy or broken. You would try to break your own legs just to fit in, just to stop the crashing. That is what you've been doing your entire life. You've been trying to cure your genius habits because you've been surrounded by people who are comfortable walking at 2 miles per hour. Every time you stayed up late, every time you spoke to yourself, every time you overthought a simple problem, you were just trying to use your high-speed brain in a slow-motion world. Take a deep breath. Feel the static in your head, that constant buzz of ideas, worries, and patterns. That isn't a disease. That is the engine of a high-performance machine idling. Stop trying to turn the engine off. Stop trying to fix the disorder. The world is drowning in normal. What the world needs are the misfits who can see the darkness, talk to themselves through the chaos, and find the patterns that will save us all. You are not a broken version of a normal person. You are a functional version of something entirely different.
The systems around us, the schools, the offices, the social rituals, were designed for the middle of the bell curve. They were created to manage the majority, to keep things predictable, manageable, and safe. But progress doesn't come from the middle. It comes from the edges. It comes from the people who can't sleep because they're chasing a ghost of an idea across the midnight hours. It comes from the people whose desks are covered in the glorious debris of creation. It comes from the people who talk to themselves because they are their own only worthy sparring partner. You have been shamed for your edges your entire life, but those edges are where your power lives. They are the parts of you that haven't been smoothed down by a society that fears what it can't categorize. Don't let them take your edges. Don't let them convince you that your speed is a defect. Your intensity is your contribution. Your weirdness is your wealth. Winning isn't about finally blending in or getting the approval of people who don't understand you. Winning is the moment you stop hiding. It's the moment you look at your messy desk and say, "This is where I build my empire." It's the moment you tell the 5 a.m. club to go to hell because your brilliance belongs to the moon and the stars. It's the moment you embrace being the weirdo in the room because you realize that weird is just a word people use for things they aren't smart enough to understand yet. Your habits aren't hurdles, they are your weapons. They are the traits that have allowed humanity to survive ice ages, invent fire, and touch the stars. You aren't broken, you are the next step in the journey. This journey is lonely, yes, but it is also the only one worth taking. You are part of a lineage of thinkers, dreamers, and outsiders who were told they were wrong until they were proven right. You carry the same fire that burnt in the minds of those who changed history by refusing to be normal.
The next time someone looks at you with that "what is wrong with you" expression, don't shrink. Don't apologize. Don't try to explain yourself to someone who isn't listening. Just smile. They're looking at a system they don't have the password for. They're judging a language they haven't learned to speak. Stay strange. Stay messy, stay awake, because while they are busy trying to survive today by following the rules, you are busy dreaming up tomorrow by breaking them. You are an evolutionary scout, sent ahead to find the path that the rest of the species will one day follow. Your quirks are your equipment. Your weirdness is your badge of office. And if you recognized yourself in even 3 of these weird habits, welcome to the club. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You are not alone, even when you are in a room full of people who don't see you. There are others like you, scattered across the world, hiding their habits and wondering why they don't fit. This video is for you. This community is for you. Leave a comment with your weirdest habit below. Let's show the world how many of us are actually out here, living on the edges of the map. Let's break the silence and stop hiding the very things that make us extraordinary. Subscribe to Pure Null-Edge for more insights into the dark side of your genius. See you in the next one.